Hey everybody, it's Master Gallengeist here, bringing you my review for the latest episode of Supernatural, Twigs and Twine and Tasha Baines. And I overall enjoyed this episode. This was another great episode that was able to tie the Monster of the Week story with our kind of like big two main overarching season stories. So this one was focused more on Alicia and Max Baines, and that's the Hunter Monster of the Week thing, and the British Men of Letters kind of advancing that plot. So this episode begins, and we see this woman pull up to this kind of like bed and breakfast hotel bit, and she goes inside, and this old lady's pretty much giving her shit. You're like, yeah, I know everything that's around here because I know you're looking at my ring, like you're that kind of type of person. I'm like, dude. And she's like, well, I can read yours, and yours is a little bit muddy. I can clear that up for you if you'd like. And then kind of like goes on her own way as the guy, Andy, who's the head caretaker at this point, gets her settled up in her room and all that, and it turns to night, and she's like using a location spell with a crystal, her eyes glowing purple, the crystal glowing purple and everything, and she goes outside, and she goes into the cellar of the bed and breakfast place, and she really is kind of freaked out by what's in there because something doesn't seem right. There's like reaction to the smells and all that, and before we know it, she gets run through with like a pretty big like knife/machete kind of thing, and that's where we're ended there. So now we see Sam and Dean kind of like talking in the bunker, kind of like going over what had happened. Dean being like, listen, I've seen Cass do bad things before because he thought he was doing right, but when I looked at him this time doing this, it wasn't Cass, it wasn't him. And of course they're like, well, that's a pretty big thing, because Cash usually tries to do these things, and if Dean's like he doesn't look like it is his usual self, it's a pretty big thing. Then we see them kind of like messing around with the cult because they've got the pieces, and Dean's like, can you fix it? And Sam's like, I hope so. So hopefully we get a kind of cool thing of them like kind of reforging it and doing something with it, because it's a pretty cool central thing to Supernatural. It's one of those big things that's pretty important in the universe. So right before they kind of like get more into the Cass situation, they hear a cell phone ringing, and it's neither one of theirs, so they find it, and it's like one of Mary's, and they pick it up, and it's Alicia and Max Baines, and they were gonna talk to Mary because they they needed help because their mom had gone on a hunt and hadn't contacted them in a while. So Sam's like, okay, yeah, just tell us where you're at, and we'll come and we'll help you out with that. And they kind of hang up, and he's like, dude, what are you doing? He's like, well, here's the thing. We don't have anything on Cass at the moment. Jody's got an APB on Cass and Kelly for like 3 states, so until something shakes loose, let's do this. So, of course, they go off, they meet up with them, and it's kind of nice to see another sibling hunter pair, because there aren't that many, and it's kind of cool to see a different dynamic. We see Sam going off with Alicia, kind of talking how she doesn't have any magic, it's kind of their thing, kind of just like noise and stuff to her, while Max is like going with Dean, looking at the car, looking at the grenade launcher and stuff like that. So it's like, okay, let's go to her last known location and everything and see what's going on. So they drive up to the bed and breakfast, and this dude comes out of the cellar and kind of gives them a weird look and then walks off, and everybody's like, well, that was kind of weird. So they go inside, and of course they're trying to figure out what's going on, and we see that their mother is there. And it's like, okay, what's going on here? She seems okay, but what's the rub? So they start doing their own kind of thing. They're like going up to the room. They get rooms for the kids and everything, and they start drinking wine and all that. And of course, the mother has ordered food from the vegan place because that was the thing that they used to track her down and all that. And while this is going on, we also see throughout the episode that Mary and Dean are playing pretty much phone tag with messages and everything. Dean wanting to talk to his mom about all the stuff that's been going on, and then, of course, Mary, of course, calls and says that she wants to be better with them and wants to talk more with them, keeping them more in her life. So they're kind of doing their thing and kind of trying to figure stuff out. We see that the mom has like opened the wine bottle, and something was really wrong with her finger. It was like it was broken, and then she snapped it back in place. Like, what the hell is going on with this thing? That's kind of really weird. So at one point, Sam goes out to get the food from the vegan place. It's like, okay, we'll see what's going on with this. Dean, of course, takes all the wine, like drinking, kind of talking about how they have a great family life. She did good raising the kids. Nothing real bad has happened. And, of course, that'll foreshadow really bad shit usually happening. So, Sam comes back with the food and everything, and he's like, Dean, I need to talk to you. And, of course, that's where Dean leaves his phone, and, of course, the missed conversation with his mom. And they go out into the hallway, and he's like, look what I found outside the place. This dude's been missing for like a month. And it's like, okay, so something going on here. Let's go check it out. Let's go check out that cellar. So they do, and they go down and they find the dead people. Andy, the guy from the cellar, and they find the mom. And of course, the mom, the sister, and the brother were all doing everything that they were doing, and Max goes out because he got a hot date with the bartender. And he had followed him into the cellar, and he sees his dead mom and breaks down, and he's like, what the hell's going on? What's going on with this? And, of course, they go in, and Max kind of pushes up his mom. It's like, what are you? Reveal who you are. Reveal your secrets. And she tells them about the old lady in the room down the hall on the stairwell, and she's like, oh crap. So what happens then is like Dean and Max go in, and we figure out that it's the old lady that's doing this, because up until that point we've seen her messing around with this giant kind of twig voodoo doll thing. And we find out that she had made a deal with a demon, because that's who their mother was hunting, a borrower witch who gets their power from the demon pack, and she's getting kind of close to dying, so she wants to get rid of the power and kind of give it off and pawn it off on someone else so she doesn't go to hell. She gave the mother the choice. She was rude to her and made her into one of the dolls, like Andy and the other guy from the cellar. And at this point, she starts putting the Andy dude into attack mode and starts attacking Sam and Alicia, and of course the mother's on the floor because she's been bamboozled by Max's magic, and of course the old lady uses her magic to keep Dean and Max kind of like unable to do anything. So she's listening off what she's trying to do, and Max is kind of listening, and she's like, okay, you're a witch, you take it. And, of course, Dean doesn't want this to happen, is able to reach his gun and shoot the old lady before she's able to complete the transaction. And, of course, this wouldn't have been a problem if the mother doll hadn't awakened and killed Alicia. And Max goes in, and it just breaks down even more. He has lost his mother and his sister in one fell swoop. And, of course, after this is all said and done, they go outside, and Sam and Dean know that he's in shock. They're trying to talk to him, but he's like, just leave. And of course, towards the end of the episode, we see that he has taken the ring and pretty much used the demon power to bring Alicia back as one of the Twig people. So, and to get rid of the evidence and make sure that she doesn't see that she's dead, because these things retain the memories of the people that have been used to awaken them, he burns the body and pretty much burns the whole place down to keep everything in check. So that's kind of where we leave off with the Monster of the Week story. With the British Men of Letters, we see Ketch. Well, first we think he is interrogating Mary, but it actually is a shifter, and he's being really nasty, using torture to try and get where the shifter's family is. And of course he doesn't give it up, and Mary hits him. It's like, it's not useful. You would know that that shifter was not going to give you any information. It's like, it's intelligence gathering. They're monsters. They kill people. No big deal. It's like, of course, Mary is not liking that whatsoever, because even before it got to that point, Ketch is like, well, my adrenaline's up. Want to go and bang, pretty much? It's like, that was a one-time thing. And it's like, yeah, Mary, do your thing. So, of course, she's going through pretty much trying to get back in contact with Dean, and she overhears Ketch talking about something in the armory. And, of course, Dean picks that time to pretty much call. She ignores it and then goes into, like, get into her email. She's like, oh, Nick sent an email. He's going to be in London longer. Okay, Ketch sent that. But, of course, they leave off. Mary goes in, and she finds Nick's body in the armory. He's like, oh, crap. And then she's trying to get out and catches down the hall, and she's like, shit, I can't get in here. Damn it, why do I explain that I'm in the armory? So this one dude comes out of another room, and she slips in, and she sees all of, like, the hunters that we know of, like Garth, Claire, Eileen, Sam, Dean, all profiles, even Mary, and she's like, why do you need this? She's like, we gotta destroy the hunters and all that, because she had tried to get out of the room, and Ketch comes in, explains his whole spiel, and then she's not having that. And we get a pretty kick-ass fight scene between her and Ketch. And at one point, she, like, breaks his arm, and I'm like, this is the thing, Ketch. You don't understand Mary Winchester at all. She's pretty deadly and efficient when she doesn't have any skin in the game, when she's just trying to take out a monster. You put in her friends and family, she will destroy your ass. And seeing her just go through and, like, annihilate him, and she's, like, broken his arm, and she pulls out the knuckles. It's like, those are Nokia brass knuckles. It's not going to do shit. And she's like, brass knuckles are brass knuckles. And hits him in the crotch, and then tries to take him out again. And as she tries to leave, he stun guns her. It's like, shit, she almost got out. And of course, that leads her to being tied in the chair, similar to the beginning. Very well done use of, like, foreshadowing in this episode of, like, the whole thing with the hunters and Mary eventually being captured. And he's like, all you had to do was play nice and just do what you were told and be as ruthless as you should have been. But no, this is where we're at. And of course, she's like, well, what are you going to do to me? You're going to kill me or whatnot? And then the Tony lady from the beginning of the season comes and says, nope, you're an asset. We just want you to answer some questions for us. It's like, I cannot wait to see Mary Winchester take out these two people. Because, granted, I know Sam and Dean will probably come in at some point and be a part of the fight, but I think Mary has enough chops to be able to take them both out. She just needs to be able to figure out how she needs to do it and the time frame she can do it. So that's kind of where we leave her off, and it's like the British Men of Letters is finally going to kind of like pop, I think, in the next couple episodes, and that we're going to end off with the whole Lucifer Jr. kind of thing. So kind of like one of the last things we also get to is that Dean finally gets the message from Mary that they've got a problem, and of course he's like, Sam, Mom's in trouble, we need to get on there pronto. So all of this is on a collision course, and it'll be interesting to see what Tony's objectives are, and if Ketch can somehow be brought around, because he only is loyal to the Men of Letters because they let him do what he wants to do. But see, here's the thing. The British Men of Letters have already shown that if you stray from them at all, or they deem you useless, like the American Hunters, they'll just take you out. That's only a matter of time for Ketch, and he doesn't really see that. But I think that he won't have time to see that because Mary and the Winchesters, and probably the gathering of the rest of the hunters to, like, take out this threat is probably going to be the biggest kind of focus before we get to Cass and, of course, Lucifer Jr. So I really enjoyed this episode and what they really tried to do with, like, the hunting aspect, showing, like, how the hunter life affects people and how it's kind of a matter of time until bad things happen, but you choose how to deal with that, because Max could have just accepted it, moved on, but know that they had been in a better place, but he pretty much sold his soul probably for demon powers, and of course chose to do something which is more of a half-life and just a doll with just his sister's heart in it. And also seeing the British Men of Letters and how if you remove yourself completely from the situation of taking people out, of like monsters out of the equation, if you just have the researchers doing things and just barking orders at what they think are as tools, you're going to get into bad situations with people who you consider tools, because they will not take that shit lightly. So those are my opinions on the episode. Tell me what you guys think in the comments below. If you liked it, if you didn't like it, if you agree with me, if you disagree with me. Also, like and subscribe, and I hope you have a good day.